Hi, it's Jessica from playitfortherapy.net, and in this video, we're going to talk about the advantages of telehealth for providers. There are definitely some benefits for you as an online therapist, so we're going to talk about those in this upcoming video. But before we do that, make sure that you like and subscribe, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Let's get started. One of the questions I get is, so what are the advantages of doing telehealth? Why should I do telehealth as a provider? And I think that's a very valid question. We all know that telehealth can be really great for working with kids that have trouble accessing services, and also it's difficult sometimes for families to make it. But it's important to think about, for you as a provider, why it's helpful and how it can help you. So I'm going to talk about the advantages of telehealth. The first advantage to you as a provider is it'll save you time. So if you are traveling and commuting, if you're taking public transportation or you're sitting in the car in traffic, being able to work from your own home, from the comfort of your own home, it can really save time because you don't have a commute. So that's a number one way it saves time. I think it also really saves time when it comes to setup and cleanup. So I don't know how many of you can relate to this, but if you have to set up all your equipment in the gym, and say you're planning a craft, you're getting together all of your supplies and your equipment and everything that you need for that craft, or perhaps you're going to be playing a game, and so you need to get that physically set up in the room. And then once you've done all that, comes the end of the session, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I leave a tornado of destruction behind in terms of all the mess and everything that I've taken out during my therapy session. And so that takes time to clean up as well. So when it comes to telehealth, you can really save time, especially if you have a digital library and if you have all of your resources ready to go. So I have all of my resources queued up before I start my telehealth session. And that literally takes me just a minute or so. I already know what activities I want to use. I just pull up my favorite websites, or I pull up a folder, or maybe I have a YouTube channel. And so I'm able to have everything ready for my treatment planning in a matter of a minute or so. And then the other piece of it is the cleanup. So I just have to close out my browser and I'm done. And so I think it really saves time in that regard too. And it can really help with transitions as well, because you're not as harried to get to your next session if you are in the middle of cleaning up, and you also will have extra time to document too, I think, if you're not spending as much time having to clean up your in-person sessions. So the other benefit that I think telehealth offers to us as therapists is it really expands our therapeutic impact. And when I say that, I'm just thinking about, you as a clinician, you're an expert in terms of in-person therapy, you're a manual therapist, you're very good at being able to observe children, being able to consult with them and their parents in terms of accommodations, or what they can do at home. But to be able to do both, to be an expert in person and then also an expert telehealth therapist, it just expands your scope and expands your impact to be able to do virtual home visits. So for example, I have a kiddo that travels about an hour and a half to come to therapy, and that's just one way. And so for me to be able to, instead of traveling to her house, to be able to do a telehealth visit, I can basically do a virtual home visit. And it just feels really good to be able to use that expertise when it comes to looking at the environment and seeing her in her home context and seeing, how can I help you? So let's take a look at your high chair setup, and oh, no wonder why you're having trouble. Or let's take a look at her posture and how is she sitting. What are some adjustments I can do to help? Another way that I've also consulted with virtual home visits is being able to consult with toilet training and being able to make sure that the potty is set up. I've also helped a child who was having a really hard time with online school, just a really difficult time being able to sit still. And so I looked at his setup, his little workstation, and the desk was way too high. So he was writing like this, which made it really hard. And then on top of that, he had a short attention span and had some sensory issues in terms of being really wiggly and needing to move. And so instead of a straight backed wooden chair, we decided to try out a rocking chair. And, also I was able to see the room that he was doing his school in and consult with, let's turn the desk so it's not facing towards all of that busyness. Let's have it face a blank wall. Or where would be a good space when you're feeling really wiggly that you could go and let some of that energy out. So it just feels so great to be able to have your expertise just expand. So not only in person, but also virtually. And you essentially use your same skills as you do in person, but you're able to do it virtually. And so I think that your impact as a therapist, if you're able to do both really well, is huge. And I think that's really exciting. And I think it's a really good benefit to us in terms of just the reward that we get with being able to help kids where they need it the most. The other benefit that I've thought of that telehealth really provides is as a career option. I think it really expands our options and it really can enhance your career, especially during this pandemic. It's been particularly tricky because we've all had to convert really quickly and transition really quickly, but telehealth is definitely here to stay. And I think for you, in terms of options in your career, occupational therapy has always been great in terms of being able to work in different practice settings. But now we're not going to be geographically bound. So with new legislation coming up, like the Interstate Licensure Compact, being able to transcend the borders of your state and being able to serve kids in other states that are participating in this compact, this is really exciting for us. And I think this really can expand your career options. And it's great too, because you can provide more impact in more areas. So I think that's another just huge perk of telehealth and what it's going to be doing for our profession. So I think those are the big ones, saving time, getting back more time to be able to do what you want to do. It does take away some of, I think, the stress. Once you become really confident and proficient at telehealth, you'll be able to run your sessions really smoothly. And I think you really will feel, less harried, and that you actually have more time in the day because you're not having to set up, clean up, and commute. So those are the big benefits of telehealth. And I love to talk shop. I love to talk about all things pediatric OT, but especially teletherapy. And I have a free masterclass coming up that I would like to invite you to. It's called The 3 Essentials of Telehealth Success. So if you're new to becoming an online therapist, if you've been dabbling in it or doing it for a while, I would love for you to join me to talk about the 3 building blocks and 3 strategies to really enhance your telehealth practice. So make sure that you look in the description and you can check, you can click on the link to register and enroll in the free masterclass. So I hope to see you there, and I really enjoyed talking shop tonight, and feel free to add any questions or contact me if you'd like to talk more, or if you have any other topics that you'd like to talk about. So have a great day, and I wish you a great rest of your week. Bye, everybody.